motion, we forego the reading of the minutes. And approve them as delivered to us.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the agenda. You have a copy of the agenda before you. Are there any corrections or additions?
Move to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the chip seal on the Otter Creek Loop Expedition Estates.
Okay, as I said in the notes, I just put this on there. Josh is here from More Engineering. We just put this on there because there's some discussion since the city hasn't been chip sealing the same year that we do the streets. They were kind of talking about not doing the chip seal on Otter Creek Loop up there in Expedition Estates right away this year. So I had Mark and Josh get an estimate together just so we kind of know where we're at. I don't know if you got anything to add to that, John?
Yeah. Nothing really extremely detailed here, but basically we just broke down, the approximate area of the roadway out there off of their plans and put together basically using the same unit price that we did on the previous estimates. It's, well over $11,000 basically to chip seal that once. So we kind of figured that would be likely grouped in with the whole overall city project when it's done, is kind of what we were anticipating there. So it's really all I have.
So then I guess, would that road need to be done next year?
It's kind of the recommended timeline, is normally, 2-3 years is kind of where people like to do it. However, if you're, if next year you're doing a overall city project, it's probably in your best interest to get it out of the way, and you'll save on, get a cheaper price on it basically, just since you're doing a large volume. So.
Yeah, so I don't know that there's any action required tonight to get more information.
Okay. Anything else on this project? Okay, we'll just keep that in mind. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go all the way down to 7A, building permit with variance request for Jay Gangle.
You guys all got some information from Hazen now?
Yep.
Kind of self-explanatory. Was kind of grandfathered in back in the day before we had ordinances about it. Setbacks are off. If he adds on, it's going to be too tall for our ordinances. It's non-conforming. He wants to use galvanized steel on the side, he wants to add up. And then the repair is going to be $8,500, and the building is only valued at $2,900. So it all kind of goes to that non-conformance. In your court.
Jay, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I'd like to have the variance so that I can put my storage upstairs, get a roof back on the place.
Is that a pole building right now?
No, it's a wood frame structure.
So it's got footings and stuff under it, and
Yeah,
okay.
still got a dirt floor, but it's got footings under it.
I guess one thing I guess I'd like to see, in the residential part, for the most part, we have, like the siding is kind of like a residential style, siding, it's not galvanized.
Well, I was thinking I could paint it, make it look a lot nicer, but I paint it.
Well, yeah, well,
But right now it's,
what the left.
yeah, I understand what you're
residential
saying,
side,
but right now it's not quite in my budget. I'd just like to get the sidewalls up another 4 feet and get the gable roof on it so that maybe in the future I could upgrade it better, but right now it's just not in the budget.
No.
And right now it's full of storage. I would like to get that stuff moved upstairs so that I could do a cleanup on my yard. But hopefully you guys will go for the variance and I can get the guy started on it.
I guess the concerns I see here, and I understand that it's non-conforming with the original rules, but now it looks like we're taking steps forward to introduce some additional variances. The overall height would be higher than what's,
No,
no?
the overall height will be about the same. The roof should be about the same height that it originally was. It's
Okay.
just that the sidewalls are coming up 4 feet and we're changing the roof design
The roof
from
pitch
the
is gonna
hip
be
roof to
different.
the gable roof.
Okay. But it says here that the guidelines say that the sidewalls can't exceed 10 feet,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna go 13.5 feet.
Yes.
It's not gonna be attached onto a house or anything, is it?
No.
You know, so I think in the past, I think we've allowed higher sidewalls as long as it like matched up like with the roof line of the house, you know.
Did you get a bid at all on what it might take to do the siding?
Yes, I did. Oh, the siding? No. I got a bid on putting the top back on the building and siding that part of it was in the bid.
So that was using the leftover material from
Off the roof, yes.
the roof?
And then the roof is gonna get new steel.
That'll match the house.
That'll match the house.
So basically, we're looking at the variance of the 13.5 from 10 to 13,
Mm-hmm.
and any variances on the side, like, is it like gonna be wider? It's like,
No.
it's gonna be just basically the only variances at 13.5,
Right,
the height,
just,
and also the siding.
I mean, it's just, yeah, this where it's located and stuff on the lot, just kind of like, it's been there forever, so. it
Right.
doesn't hurt anything. Yeah, it's the siding and the roof of the sidewalls.
The height, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What are the wishes of the board?
I move to table this until next meeting.
Well, then we don't need a motion on it, do we? Do you? Okay. There's a motion.
I'll second that. I'd like to look further into it myself.
Okay, there is a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call?
Stern,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye. Was there any other information you wanted from Jay before the next meeting, or just to look at it?
I wanna just, I guess, like, look at it a little closer,
Okay,
so.
Okay.
Thank
it will be on the agenda for the next meeting.
Which is.
August 7th.
So,
Okay.
okay, we're on to reports. Water and sewer.
You know, there's a sewer, problem at the, senior center on, Third Avenue right now. The road is blocked off. That's not on the city main, that's on their service. So, city's been helping out. Hauling out, part of the road there, whatnot, but, and then, Beulah followed our garbage truck here, about a week and a half ago or so, I think. I don't know if it's back yet, it's on it is.
Last Thursday.
That's all I have.
Okay. Dan?
Well, in visiting with the gentleman at the fire department, they said we made it successfully through fireworks here in Hazen without any incidents attributed to that. We have had some general fires out there near railroad tracks and helped out with Beulah over there. With the police department, Jerry and I are going to be setting up some time where we're going to hook up with the officers and we're going to travel around town and do some inventory and stuff on vehicles that violate our current stipulation for not being there, and see what we can do to follow up on that. That's it.
Got a question for you.
Yes.
I know about a month ago, we had talked about the parking ordinance.
With regard to campers and stuff?
Yeah, campers and vehicles.
Yep.
You know, I got a resident talked to me and said that there's vehicles in the street by their driveway, it makes it hard for them to get in and out. If I just go by here now,
Mhm.
there wasn't anything there, but I was just curious, you know, I guess like last month to now, has there been any, I guess, progress on that?
I haven't heard any. That's not to suggest that they haven't, but I haven't had that conversation with any of the boys.
Okay. On busing, I've been told that the buses are getting full for the school year, and we are looking for another bus driver. We'll be putting an ad in the paper again to advertise for the hiring of one. I guess Ronnie brought to my attention that this week there was some oil.
I just saw it today.
Just today, some oil dropped in the city parking lot over here. He did bring me some pictures. It was dumped in the parking lot, on the trees, and the filter and cans were thrown behind the trees. And I guess they do have the city police working on to see who may have done it, looking at some camera footage from the financial to see if they can see if there was anyone parked there doing that. Just want to kind of get the word out there that Ron did report that the gas stations do take your oil free of charge. So we maybe need to get that out there and let people know that they don't have to dump it. That it can be taken to one of the gas stations and they'll take care of it for them. I think you also said batteries they'll take.
Yeah, some places actually pay for that, most stations take the discharge.
Right.
I don't think they pay for them here in town, but there's places in Bismarck where they do find them.
Okay. So just making everyone aware that that is going on. HCD?
HCD. Alright. Here's an update on the Pioneer home. They have all of the sheet rocking completed in building A, which is the older section that was redone. They're gonna be into gypcrete the floor in there this week. They'll be finishing up the sheet rocking in the new building, which is B. Of course, there, you know, the only place that they need the gypcrete there possibly yet is on second floor between the two levels. Once that's done, of course, and once that gypcrete is done, then they'll be able to bring in the painters, or they're gonna tape and texture. Then they'll bring the painters in. And my understanding is that, you know, once the painters arrive, basically all of that stuff is going to be, it'll be taped off, masked off, and it's all gonna be sprayed. So once they get to that point, it'll go pretty quickly. So that project's coming along really pretty well right now. Those rooms, of course, look a lot different now that the sheetrock is in there, in them, you know, and so look, actually they're gonna be, I think they're gonna be pretty nice. I took my daughters over there on the week of the 4th when they were both home. We went out there and walked through there, and they were actually pretty impressed with them. So I think it's gonna be a really pretty nice facility. We're still getting some estimates on, I think I had shared with the group here that we're looking at an alternative to the parking, of pulling it off of Main Street and going inside. And so we did see a design, we have a design that we're looking at and trying to get some cost estimates to see how those dollars flow in relationship to the previous way that we were going to do that. But I think it's looking favorable, I would say that right now. And I think the other part of it, of course, it would just enhance that whole facility by being able to drive through there, get closer to the main door and drop people off, especially when you're thinking about the clientele that will be in there, you know, so that part will be good. So as far as Pioneer, that's, things are moving along. My board, relative to the Commerce Center, my board here the other day, my executive board, decided we're going to put another strip of asphalt down for parking out there. We're gonna go, we ended up, after talking with the contractor, we first were talking about doing 20 feet, but after he actually got on site and did some measuring, he thought that we'd get by with 16 feet width. Yeah. So we're gonna do that, and it's gonna go about 224 feet. And of course, east to west from the present curve to, it isn't gonna take it all the way onto the curve on west road on 12 there, because maybe down the road, we might have to look at doing that too. They didn't do a real good job when they poured that first piece of concrete out there. So we might want to expand that driveway a little bit, but we'll take it one step at a time. And I believe that they'll probably be starting on that work this week. Some of the excavating anyway, at least that much, because they're gonna dig out 12 inches of that poor soil and then backfill it with 8 inches of class 5. Yeah, 8, and then they're gonna go with a 4-inch layer of asphalt, which should in turn give us probably about, You know, I don't remember, I didn't write these things down, and I'm getting too old to remember everything, but I think I always do, but I think he said about 25 or 20, at least 20 additional parking spots. So the idea, of course, there would be that, then we would have, then those tenants would have a place for themselves and their employees to park. So you'll see that happening, it's in the near future, so. Any questions? Pardon me? Right now, we're in kind of a holding pattern with the hotel. We have some legal things that we need to get ironed out, but it's still, it's not in jeopardy of going south or anything like that, it's just that we have some things that we need to take care of, so. But you'll hear more about it down the road.
Okay, we'll move on to old business, the one-way alley between West River Telephone and the post office.
And this is more informational. I did contact several of the officers from the police department, as I indicated in my notes. None of them have had a lot of, or remember a lot of accidents back there or that type of thing. I didn't pursue it any farther after I had talked to Jeff at West River Telephone as far as viewing any of the videotape, because he said it would be kind of limited. You don't get to see the mail drop off, or it's more toward the southwest corner there toward that storage building. So, but that is an option if you want me to look at that. Because it's back in your court.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we want to pick one alley and make it a one-way, or if it's gonna benefit really anybody by making it a one-way. I don't know.
So just take a step back on this. It was presented to us that there was a concern that because it is bi-directional and because of the narrowness of it, that it's an accident waiting to happen.
Basically, that's the way it was presented, yes.
I know I've used that alleyway numerous times for dropping off mail, and I don't know that I've ever met anybody coming the other direction, with the exception of maybe some West River folks when they're leaving at the end of their day.
So what are the wishes of the board? Something you want to act on?
So Ron, you know, if we wanted to put signage up just by the post office there, is there already like a stop sign there, right?
Yep, coming out of the alley,
Yeah,
there's a stop sign.
So if we would put a sign there, that wouldn't be all that much work, but then on the west side of that alley, I'm not sure if there's any kind of.
I don't recall there being any signage on the west side.
But the only thing is, when we pick up garbage, we come in from the west to pick up J&L
Oh.
and West River, so we would be going the wrong way. To pick up those two dumpsters.
Yeah, but turn around and go the other way.
Well, if they had room to put them someplace else, but right now they don't.
I guess in light of the conversations with the police force and their recollection of there not being too big of a deal going on in there, you know, certainly that you're not going highway speeds back there. I'd be inclined just to leave well enough alone. Yeah, Buster.
Madam President,
Yes.
Lady Chairman, excuse me. You
know, one of the things that I think that would be advantageous though, is on, when you come out the west corner, seems like there's always a vehicle parked to the south, right next to the alley. And I know that, you know, we've gone down that path before, but if that spot could remain open, so at least you could see that traffic if it's coming from the south a little easier.
You're talking right at the arrowhead there, on the west end of the alley?
It isn't, you know, you can see pretty well the traffic to the north. In most instances, if there aren't a lot of vehicles parked on the slab there where the doors are. But out to the west, to the south, excuse me, it just seems like you have to be extra cautious. Well, and the other part of it is that you'd never be going too fast over there anyway, because there's such bad ruts in there.
Yeah.
So maybe you wanna leave the ruts to make sure everybody goes through.
Natural speed bumps.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
just, it's more of a safety concern than anything, really. Just gonna creep through there.
Because if there were questions about the alley coming from the south, then
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we do nothing with it, it'll just,
then take no action.
is that the wish of the board? No action? Okay, there will be no action on that agenda item. Under the new business, Blue Cross Blue Shield renewal.
Our annual renewal or our annual policy starts October 1st. I got the renewal paperwork, and as I emailed you informational stuff, very pleased to say that our increase is less than 1% for the next year. So basically, I'm looking for the board's approval to go ahead and sign the renewal and send it back.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Pillar.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye. Motion carried. Now we're on to the approval of the bills.
Got a couple more for you today that were entered.
Make a motion to accept the bills as presented.
Second.
There is a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Pillar.
Aye.
Stern.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye. Motion carried. We will adjourn the meeting.